we're doing the Harlem Renaissance on Gene Toomer, and he was one of the leading poets of the Harlem Renaissance. Him, along with Langston Hughes, Rudolph Fisher, Wallace Thurman, and Jesse Redmond. And there's also more poets that helped build up the Harlem Renaissance. But they looked up to an older generation of poets that they called intellectuals, named Jason Weldon, Claude McKay, and Alan Locke. And there's way more than that. But
with much of the literature focusing on a realistic portrayal of black life, conservative black critics feared that the ghetto realism would impede the cause of racial equality. Any benefit of burgeoning black contribution to literature might have in defraying racial prejudice was secondary to as Langston Hughes. The Harlem Renaissance influenced future generations of black writers, but it was largely ignored by the literacy establishment after it started in the years of the 1930s. With the advancement of the civil rights movement, it again acquired wider recognition.
Alright, so I'm going to start describing you guys about the early life of Gene Toomer. He was born in December 26, 1994 in Washington, D.C., and his father's name was Georgian Farmer. And he passed as a white man during periods of his life because he was mostly white and mixed with black, so he was light-skinned. And he was raised in a predominantly black community, and he did attend all black high schools. And in 1914, he began college at the University of Wisconsin, but he transferred to the College of the City of New York, where he studied until the end of 1917.
Toomer spent the next 4 years writing and published poetry and prose in Broom, The Liberator, The Little Review, and others. He actively participated in literacy society and was acquainted with such prominent figures as the critic Kenneth Burke, the photographer Alfred Stieglitz, and the poet Hart Crane.
In the early 20s, Toomer became interested in Unitism, a religion founded by Armenia. This doctrine taught unity, transcendence, and mastery through yoga. He began to preach these teachings of Unitism and later moved downtown into the white community. He then moved to Chicago to create a new branch of followers.
I'll be reciting to you a poem written by Gene Toomer called People. To those fixed on white, white is white. To those fixed on black, it is the same. And red is red, yellow, yellow. Surely, there are such sights in the many-colored world, or in the mind. The strange thing is that the people will never see themselves, or you, or me. Are they not in their minds? Are we not in the world? This is a curious blindness for those that are colorblind. What queer beliefs that men who believe in sights disbelieve in seers? Oh people, if you would use your other eyes, you would see beings.
The poem by Gene Toomer, People, that was just recited by Tamaya Black, explains racism, inequality, and we feel this poem is an eye-opener, and it's telling people that we're all the same, and we shouldn't treat people different because they're a different skin color, and just because people are black, you shouldn't treat them like how they were treating them back in the slavery days, and just because they're white, that doesn't mean they're racist and rich and snobby. But we're all the same on the inside, even though we have different skin colors. We should all be treated equal, and it's not about what's on the outside, it's about what's on the inside, so you should take that into consideration. And this poem shows that people shouldn't be treated different by the way they look.
When an author uses certain words, they're not really using it as that specific meaning. They're using it to get their reader to understand deeper what they're trying to portray to their audience. When Toomer says the colors yellow and red, he does not actually mean those specific colors. When he's talking about those colors, he wants you to understand that black and white, they're the same ethnicity, but they're different kind of people, and you have to get to know that about a person. He's talking about how people are all different colors, all different shapes, all different sizes, but at the end of the day, we are all the same and we should all be treated the same. It does not matter what's on the outside, but it definitely does matter what's on the inside. Being a certain color should not determine how anybody should be treated. That's what his method was trying to explain in this poem.
Gene Toomer had many hobbies before he died. He liked to plant. All types of flowers and stuff, and he felt like when he planted, he felt like all the problems that he had went away. Like the problems when people talked about when he was mixed, and he couldn't go on like just be on the black side or the white side. He just was like in the middle, and he didn't really like that. But he felt like all the problems that he had went away when he was planting. But another hobby that he was a philosopher as well.
Toomer was mixed with black and white, but he could easily be mistaken for white. He would never accept when someone thought he was white. He was proud of the race he was. When Toomer was younger, his family lived in an all-white neighborhood, but he attended an all-black high school. He was known as Eugene Toomer, and then later when he started to write, he shortened it to Gene. His grandfather was also the only black governor of any state at the time.
On March 30th, 1967, Gene Toomer was laid to rest at the age of 72 in Pennsylvania. Living a long, successful life, Toomer was done fighting, being that he lived in a nursing home for the rest of his days. It was said that he died of natural causes.